Now I am joined by the man that puts this thing all together with the help of his wonderful team.
That's right.
At the California Craft Brewers Association, Mr. Tom McCormick.
Good to see you, man.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving us this
you here.
wonderful space and letting us set up and run this whole live stream thing. It's kind of wild.
Yeah, you got a good view here. Nobody else has seen that out there. But
we got the whole expo. We got the Tap Talks right next door. The San Diego Brewers Guild supplying us with fresh Karl Strauss beer.
Cheers.
Which is great. Cheers. So they're making my job real easy. And we're going to be doing this for a couple more hours today. But right now we got you. Let's catch up on what's happening in California. Over 900 operating breweries in the state now, correct?
We have 944, so just about to hit 950. Yeah.
Okay, and how many in planning? How many how soon till we get to 1,000 operating breweries in California?
We don't keep close tabs on breweries in planning. There seem to be less, which is not a surprise. And I will say that we have seen a noticeable drop-off in the opening of new breweries, the pace of new openings. And we've just begun to see that this year.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I think the message is getting out there that, hey, this is actually hard to do, and it's getting to be a competitive business industry. And I think it's just kind of a natural maturing of the industry. I think we're going to see fewer breweries opening up, and I think we're going to see more closing their doors.
Tom, you've been in the industry for a long time.
Long time.
For our audience that may not be completely familiar with your entire backstory, maybe briefly catch us up on your entire time in the beer industry. And, talk to me about how much it's changed since you got involved.
Well, I got into the industry. I tried to open a brewery in 1982. And I spent about a year or so trying to do that, and I was unsuccessful because I could not get the money. So I walked into banks, and they had never heard of a microbrewery or craft brewery at the time, and my friends and family thought I was crazy. So that's how different, obviously, it is from today.
Yeah.
I kind of got talked into starting a craft beer-only distributorship, which I opened in 1984. So that was when I actually got into the industry. So I ran that distributorship selling just craft beer for 10 years, was co-founder of Wolliver's Organic Ales. I've done teaching and speaking, was part of the Pro Brewer online resource website for a while in the founding days, and then started with the CCBA in 2006.
Wow. That is quite the career that you've had. And now, you have what is essentially like the Craft Brewers Conference of, 2009, 2010, but just for California. That's what it feels like. What's the size and scope of this thing that you've put together?
Well, that's, I still love the Craft Brewers Conference, but as you know, it's gotten to be a rather large event. And I used to love the CBCs back in the 90s and late 80s when you felt like you almost knew everybody there. And so one of the ideas here was to kind of replicate that feeling. We have about 2,500 people will come through here over the course of 2 days on the expo floor. So I don't know at what point the CBC was at that level, but probably I'm thinking in the mid-90s was when they were at about 2,500, I'm guessing.
Yeah, just the overall sort of feeling that I've had being here is kind of bringing me back to my first CBC in, 2011 in San Francisco.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty tight-knit. You're walking through the halls and you can kind of spot all the recognizable characters. There's Kim Jordan, there's Tommy Arthur, there's Greg Cook. Yeah. And that's what it feels like here. So you guys, of the 944, you said? 944 breweries, how many of them are here with you this week?
Well, about half of those are represented here in one way or another. have sent somebody here. So
awesome.
About half of those breweries.
And 2,500 attendees. You guys have this entire expo hall. And how many seminars, how many learning sessions have you put together?
We have 45 educational seminars total. We have 120 exhibitors out here on the floor over the course of 2 days. So it's kind of evolved. This is the 4th annual. It's grown every year and evolved a little bit every year. We've infused a new, not new to this year, but we're adding more and more food and chef demos every year. The idea from day one, going back to the first summit, was to create an atmosphere that's different from most trade shows. So we don't have the typical aisles and the drapes that you see at a typical trade show. And the idea was to make it very experiential and kind of hands-on, so that not just people from the brewing industry, but people from the hospitality industry, wholesalers, retailers could come and really experience beer, not just walk up and down aisles, but you see hops out there and malt and yeast and all the different things that you can really experience. And so that was the idea.
Really get hands-on with it. Now, being in Sacramento, do you guys also use this as an opportunity to lobby for any initiatives that you might be pushing? Are you bringing some of these brewery owners over to the Capitol?
Well, no, I mean, we do a kind of a day at the Capitol separately from this because the legislative session is not in session right now. But we definitely use this to show off our industry to the policymakers across the street. We invite all of the staffers over here to the expo and to the beer festival on Saturday. So it is definitely a way to kind of showcase the industry to the staffers and to the policymakers that are here in Sacramento.
Yeah. Speaking of that, what initiatives are you guys pushing? I know there were a pair of bills that we wrote about earlier this year. What's the latest on those? There was a brew pub bill, and then there was a retailer glassware giveaway bill. What's the latest?
Well, in the brew pub bill, and that only applies to the Type 75 license, and I won't get into too much detail here, but it allows for off-sale privileges to the Type 75 license, which is a type of brew pub license. It's a brewery, restaurant, and distilled spirits license, and that license didn't have the ability to sell off-sale of the beer like the typical beer manufacturer's license had, so it adds that to the license and some other restrictions as well. That passed the legislature. It's sitting on the governor's desk right now.
Great.
And will likely be signed by the governor. The other one was a bill that would expand what a beer manufacturer can give away to a retailer. And this bill specifically was around glassware. We opposed the bill initially, negotiated a bill that better suited our industry, kind of brought the level down significantly. Originally, it was 10 cases of glassware to any retailer per brand. It's now a retailer can accept up to 5 cases of glassware. So it's not per beer manufacturer. So any given retailer can only receive 5 cases of glassware
across the board
per year across the board. So they're going to have to pick and choose.
Now, is that by location? If a retailer has multiple locations, is it 5 per location?
Correct. It is per location.
Okay.
Yep. That bill passed the legislature, and it's sitting on the governor's desk. And hard to say what the governor's going to do with that. I don't know.
Okay. And would you expect both to get signed here shortly, or?
Well, the governor has up until the end of this month to sign them. And so sometime between now and the end of the month.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't seem like anything too offensive that's going to ruffle anyone's feathers significantly. So it seems like both of those would probably kind of fly under the radar, so to speak.
Unless the governor receives pushback from the ABC, if they think it's hard to enforce on the glassware or any of those bills, he does take input from the ABC. But yeah, both of those will probably pass or get signed by the governor.
Okay. Anything else that we should be paying attention to or watching?
No, we're kind of in defensive mode here. We did not sponsor any bills this year ourselves, which is unusual. Normally we do, but really kind of held back and took a defensive posture this year. We'll probably do the same next year.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have it pretty made out here in California.
California is a good place to, well, it's a hard state to do business in, though.
Yeah, it's competitive,
Yeah.
but that being said, I mean,
that
there
being
are a lot of
said,
advantages.
There are a lot of advantages if you're in the brewing industry, yeah.
For sure. Well, we're just about to bring our next guest on.
Yeah.
But maybe a final word here, something you're looking forward to over the next couple days. I saw you walking around with a clipboard and you got a whole agenda and places you've got to be.
Places I got to be and people I got to see.
Yeah, so what's, of all the things that you have to do, what are you most looking forward to?
Sitting here with you and just seeing everybody. I mean, that's what I love about, I mean, you know, we've known each other for a long time, and it
has been a while now.
It's good to see you, and my favorite part of this whole event is, you know, it's like family, and it's like a family reunion. And so just getting to see everyone and having a beer with people and just the networking and the socializing is the favorite part for me.
Well, cheers to that, Tom.
Yeah, cheers.
Thank you for having us. And we won't cut into your time now. I know you got to hurry off to something else. But
Okay.
thank you for spending a few minutes with us. And congratulations on everything that you've built here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.